So, as part of this channel's civic duty, it one of the things that I do is whenever somebody says something really stupid to me, it's my job to share that individual's stupidity with the world. So, for that reason, I'm very seriously considering turning this into a video series called "Stupid People Explain Things to Me." Now, today's moron is YouTube username RxDrDaddy. I don't even want to know what that's a reference to. But as a comment left on my recent video about Gibson's about the lawsuit verdict between Gibson and Dean Guitars regarding the trademark infringement situation, this is what he said. There is no sort of. Gibson won and will now collect from every brand in the USA that decides to use their intellectual property. This, over time, will amass much more than $7 million and will hopefully force these lazy guitar companies to make their own designs. To which I responded, "Okay." So, Mr. RxDrDaddy came back with yet another reply. He says, "Robert's Guitar Dungeon, your video was full of anecdotal opinions, platitudes, and cliches. Zero facts. Gibson won, set a precedent, and will now collect from any USA brand that chooses to counterfeit their IP, intellectual property. This is obviously going to amass much more than $7 million. Kind of interesting listening to somebody who used the word president in place of the word precedent and can't seem to differentiate between the two, as well as somebody who also uses the term emass instead of amass. Once again, try to explain the intricate workings of a federal lawsuit. Also, in regards to my video being full of anecdotal opinions, no shit, whoever claimed otherwise, as well as platitudes and cliches. Platitudes are in the eye of the beholder, and cliches probably guilty of that too. The problem is you seem to think that I have claimed somewhere in advance that that video or any other is anything other than an opinion-based video. And that is why you, sir, have become the featured viewer of this new video series. Which, by the way, for my regular viewers, if you would actually like to see this turned into a video series, please comment down below and let me know. And because honestly, I haven't made that decision yet if I'm going to do that or not. Anyway, now on to a more serious note regarding that lawsuit. Here is, I've done some digging, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of information out there. But here's what I gather regarding the actual verdict of that lawsuit. Yes, well, Gibson technically won, though they only won $4,000, but that's beside the point. As far as as far as the protection of their intellectual property, no, every single guitar company in the U.S. that makes a flying V is not going to have to suddenly pay a royalty. It doesn't work that way. Gibson will need to file another lawsuit for each and every single one of those individual companies, hence their current lawsuits, pending lawsuits with companies like Kiesel and Heritage that, as I mentioned, are still ongoing. And those lawsuits, by the way, are very, very similar to the one that they just completed with Dean Guitars. ESP and BC Rich and Schecter and Kiesel and all these other companies that make a V-shaped guitar or a Z-shaped guitar or a single cut Les Paul guitar, so anything like that, are not going to have to suddenly get out the checkbook and start writing checks to Gibson for those designs. Gibson has to file the lawsuit. Gibson has to go through the motions to protect their intellectual property. Not only do they have to go through all of that, but they also have to actually win. Has the precedent been set? I don't know. Remains to be seen. We'll have to see what happens with some of these other pending lawsuits, and we'll also have to see if they follow this up with more lawsuits from against other guitar companies. Could Fender follow suit and suddenly start suing all the other companies that have made a strap body design, a telly body design, etc., or even an offset design, which technically that would include Gibson? I suppose they could. Will they start doing so? I highly doubt it. Fender just doesn't seem to be the type of organization that gets off on stirring shit up, and doing things like that ultimately just piss off the entire guitar community. Gibson, They don't seem to have a problem with any of that. Fender, they want people's perception of them to be based solely on their product. That's what I gather, and at least that's what it seems to me as a consumer. Yeah, Fender sued people in the past over over product designs, but it's not like they're not filing a lawsuit every year over it. They're not in the news about doing so all the time, like Gibson is. So, and to be fair, in Gibson's defense, most of these lawsuits, not all, but most of them, all this legal stuff that they have tried to, that they have brought against other guitar companies, all started under the previous management regime, who are no longer in charge. So, as I explained in my last video, the ball was already rolling on a lot of that stuff. They had no choice but to follow through with it. The one with Dean Guitars monetarily didn't work out for him, but the trademark infringement stuff did seem to moderately land in their favor. Again, we're going to still have to see how all of that plays out, because I haven't been able to find any specific details about the verdict of that particular portion of the lawsuit. So once again, if you want to see stupid people explain things to me, become a regular series on this channel, let me know down below. Later.